Hey Broadway, I am so honored to bring you this video greeting on your 40th anniversary. As I wind the clock back 40 years, I was the associate director of what was then called the Arizona Evangelistic Association. Practically from the first day, my duty was to sign a lease for the new church that was starting in the East Valley, to be called Midway Christian Church. Why Midway? Well, because it was midway between Central Christian Church in Mesa and Community Christian Church in Apache Junction, of course. When I drove to the address for the lease signing, I could not believe where this new church was to meet, because my directions took me to Melcher Mortuary Mission Chapel on Main Street. I guess it's because the leaders thought that it had the three things that every new church needed in 1978: soft pews, air conditioning, and an organ. Well, that was my last official contact with this new church for months, because I was sent to Tucson to start a new church there. But the reports we received back were not really encouraging. Attendance on the first week wasn't spectacular. It was 85 in attendance, and it went down from there. During those 11 months, they had Sunday morning messages delivered by 16 different people. They couldn't decide on a preacher. Factions were formed, and the church essentially split. And at the church's one-year anniversary, they had all of 14 people in attendance. Well, it was then that the director of the Evangelistic Association finally decided we needed to step in. And he asked me to go to Mesa for what he called a strengthening ministry. And I put air quotes around that because it didn't feel like a strengthening ministry. It felt more like being sent to preside over a funeral. But my wife Joy and I went, and what we found truly surprised us. In that little group, they were battered because of the church split. They were defeated in many ways, but they were incredibly faith-filled despite that. And they had actually persuaded a land developer in the area to give the church 5 acres of land on the condition that they would raise $100,000 by December 31st. When I arrived on the scene in mid-November, they had exactly $4,000, and the gift of that land was just about to slip through their fingers. Well, what came next, I can, in retrospect, only credit to God, because in just 6 weeks, those 14 people became 28, and then 60, and then 70 and more, and we worshiped together and we prayed, and the people recommitted to their original vision with renewed energy and with a significant financial commitment. And on December 31st, I'll never forget, we had the gifts and pledges surpassing the $100,000 goal. And Midway Christian Church became Broadway Christian Church as we took title to that 5 acres of land at 7335 East Broadway Road, free and clear and ready to build. So plans were drawn and build we did, and 1 year later we opened the doors of that first church building, and on week 2 we had to go to multiple services because it was overflowing. And the rest, as they say, is history. My primary reason for sharing this is because I want to shine a bright light on the power of God to accomplish His will, even when there seems to be no way. By all rights, there shouldn't be a Broadway Christian Church today. You shouldn't be celebrating your 40th anniversary, but by God's grace, and through over 3 decades of faithful leadership by John and Abnett and his leadership team, you are making an eternal difference in the lives of thousands of people in the East Valley and quite literally around the world. And I could not be more thankful, and dare I say, proud, to see the fruit that is growing on the tree that God planted in the desert in 1978. Congratulations, Broadway. This is a day to celebrate, and may you continue to give shade and rest for weary seekers for many decades to come.